Good morning, ladies, and welcome to Floriani Kick It Up a Notch, January 2019. Wow, it was quite a year. We've been together, well, just a month short of a year, and everybody has come such a long ways. And the end of last year, you asked for us to go to the next level. You wanted to learn more how to use and make your own designs. So that's how I came up with Floriani Kick It Up a Notch, because we're going to do just that. We're going to turn it up. We're going to figure out how to use that program now that you've learned all the basics. We're going to create your own designs. We're going to learn some digitizing. We're going to learn how to do some editing. So we're going to do each month a little bit different. And I decided that I'm going to bring to you every month your outline, which I've done in the past, your artwork, and I'm going to tell you basically what we're going to do in a video format, show it to you so you can see it up on the screen. We can start it and stop it. I think it'll be a little easier. If it's not, then we'll do it on site. So we'll give it a try, see how this works, see how you like it. Everybody will get a copy of this to take home with them so that you can use it for your homework. And oh yes, there will be homework. We're going to talk about what you're going to do at the end of each session so that you can actually use what you've learned. You can go home and put that to use, and then of course bring it back with you in February. We'll take a look at it, we'll answer any questions, we'll work out any problems you might have, or if we need to go over it a little bit further before we start on the next group, we can do that also. So with all of that said, everybody should have either printed out their outline or have it on their screen. And you should have the artwork I sent you in a folder or on your desktop. My suggestion, ladies, is you make a folder for these new group tutorials we're going to do. And that way you can keep each month together, because you're going to need to refer back to them when you go home to do your homework. Or if 3 months from now you decide to do something and you kind of forgot exactly how to do that, you can say, oh, we did that in January, or oh, we did that in February. And you can go back and look to it and refer to it and hopefully answer your question. If not, you know how to get a hold of me. So, let's talk about today's subject. And it is all about converting pre-purchase designs, converting them to outlines. And by that I mean you're literally going to take that design and break it apart. When a design is done, it starts out artwork so that you understand the anatomy of what we're talking about. It starts out artwork. Once you have that artwork all laid out, whatever it may be, then you have to convert it to stitches so that your embroidery machine can read the program and stitch it out. So you're doing the first thing is creating artwork. The second thing, you're converting it to stitches, and then those two get combined and you come out with something that's called a digitized design. That's what you buy when you buy a pre-purchase design. It's already been done for you. It's all there. It's all pretty. It's all neat and tidy. And then all of a sudden you get some bozo like me that says, well, I want to move this over here, or I want this down here. So you convert to outlines. That breaks it up and actually puts it back into artwork so that you can manipulate it or move it around or change it a little bit. Please be respectful to the designer. Do not obliterate their designs. Number one, it's not legal. But, you know, moving things around, I don't have a problem with, you know, shifting, that type of thing. I don't ever totally butcher their design. Not my intent at all. Wouldn't want someone to do that to me, and I won't do that to someone else. So, but that's what converting to outlines does. So, you need to understand whether you need to use it or you don't need to use it. You say, well, that's kind of silly. Isn't that what we're talking about? Well, yes, it is. But we're talking about it, and it comes into play in more than one instance. In other words, if you just want to change the extension, the stitch out, whether it's going to stitch out in PES for brother, or it's going to stitch out in whatever code it is for Viking or Husqvarna or whatever, you don't have to convert to outlines. You can do that. You can make those kind of changes without converting to outlines. If you want to change the actual editing of that design, then yes, you must convert to outlines. So, we'll move on, and we'll talk about this, and it'll make a lot more sense as we go, and hopefully we'll clear up some gray areas. We're going to take the artwork that I sent you, and we're going to open those up on our computers. So if you have those in a file, however you save them, please go get them and open them up. There was like 4 of them. You can open them all right now, or you can open them a little bit at a time. I don't really care. I just would rather open them all, and then it saves me aggravation later. So, okay, there they all are. Okay. 003 is the first one. It's the bunny with the eggs. Now, if you noticed, I did not do anything other than open them. Okay? I'm going to show you this both ways. The way Floriani says you have to do it, and then there is another way, which Floriani says their way is the only way to convert to outlines. Well, I guess I made a discovery. Okay, so in order to open this design the Floriani way, we're going to open a new window. Well, we didn't even have to do that. Sorry, ladies. We're going to go get this specific design we want. So we want 003. Now, if you see over here on the side of your open screen, you have preview and convert to outlines. Floriani says you must check this. Well, it might help. Sorry. It might help if I click on the right screen. You must check this prior to opening. I have dual screens in my office, so one actually shows you what I'm doing, and the other one I actually work off of. Sorry, I was using the wrong one. Floriani says you must click this prior to opening if you want to convert to outlines. Now, a lot of people leave this converted all the time, leave this checked all the time, and every design opens converted to outlines. I do not, and I do not for a reason. It takes longer to open your designs. I don't want to convert every design to outlines, and if they're my designs, they're already converted. So I don't leave it checked, and I only convert to outlines and check it when needed. So that's my preference. It's personal preference to everybody. You know me, I will always tell you your options, and then you can decide from there how you want to do it. But this is the way Floriani says you must open this file. So if I click now, I have it open again. If I come over here and I look at the all items screen down here in the sequence view, if I take this very first one and I open it, you notice there was a plus sign. So if I open that up, all of a sudden, everything under it, if you see, is all in bits and pieces. So that segment, if you click on it, it'll highlight everything in that segment. That segment is all broke up into pieces now. So if you wanted to move something, you have the ability to do so. If you go back to the one that I opened originally, this one, which I remember did not click convert to outlines. If you notice, when we open up that plus sign, all we have is another row that says stitches. That's nice, that's wonderful, but that doesn't get you into an editing mode. So there's the difference in opening them, and that's the difference in what you will see. Is you will see them either totally broken apart if you've converted it to outlines, or you will see it like this and it just says stitches. Now, I said to you, there's more than one way to skin a cat. If you come over here on the one that you opened, and let's say you forgot to check it, and you're going to say, well, I got to close it, and I got to go back out, and I got to get it again, and I got to check that box that Winona told me to check, convert to outlines, so that everything works right. Well, not exactly. If you take the one that you opened and you forgot to click convert to outlines, or you're like me and you don't ever click it, and you come over here to the side where your sequence view is, and you click on all items, that's going to highlight everything in that design. Now if we right click, we get a drop down. If you noticed the fourth thing up from the bottom, voila, what does that say? Convert to outlines. So if we go down here and we click, our little cursor turns into that little thing for a few minutes, and all of a sudden, voila, what do we have but a totally converted to outline design. You did not have to leave, you did not have to reopen it, you did not have to start out with the button clicked that says convert to outlines. So there is another way to do it. I'm not telling, Floriani they're wrong. I'm just telling you that there is another way to do that without having to do it from the very beginning. I discovered it just because of working with designs, that was the way that it could be done. So I just do it that way. It is, like I said, my preference. I don't particularly like to open them and slow my program down. As we all know, Floriani is a huge program. It doesn't need any slowing down any more than it has to slow it down. So let's talk about if you were going to create an Easter decoration, let's say for a shirt or whatever, and this was going to go in the center, and then you got, I don't remember what else I sent you. Oh, an Easter basket, and you got the ducks. I do love those little ducks. They're just so cute. So, what if you said, well, I really like this, but I really need to move those eggs somewhere. They're just kind of in my way. Well, I would move the eggs somewhere. Even though I think he's really cute, I would put that on a onesie maybe, and I think it would make just a darling onesie. But what if I wanted to do just that? What if I wanted to move the rabbit? Or I wanted to move the eggs? What if I just wanted to move something? So I have to kind of scroll down here first off, and let me let me collapse that back. So the second part of this is the yellow is part of the eggs, and the next one is the blue, which is another part of the eggs. Then we have the green, and then we have the magenta. So, please excuse me. In order to move these around, you're going to have to figure out where your eggs are. Now, I could tell, just because I've done this a lot, by looking at this, that that was an egg. And I bet that might be the rest of it. No. What is that? It is. So what you have to do here is we have to find the elements of the egg. There it is. So we have to have that whole egg highlighted to be able to move it. And we only want that egg. We're just going to move that egg. For whatever reason, Nancy says that egg has got to move. I don't like it. I want it someplace else. So, now with that highlighted, we come over here and we get to the egg. And if we hover over it, you notice our cursor turns to the little hand. And all of a sudden, we can take that egg and, oh, we don't have its spots. Huh. Well, remember, Kathy Quinn says what? Undo is my best friend. So, hit undo. And what we're going to do is we're going to go look for the rest of that egg, because we didn't get it all. So, therefore, we need to find, and let's see what color they are. They look gray. So we know that they're not going to be in this particular segment. So we're going to go back up here. We're going to get the egg again. And then we're going to come down and we're going to go find its spots. And we don't have a gray. I wonder if that was magenta. And it just looked gray to me because I'm a little old and a little tired. So maybe it was just my sight. Oh, these kind of look like spots. Is this it? Nope, that's the nose of the bunny. And see, that's not it. So we know that's not it. Alright, maybe those spots are blue. Sometimes it's not always easy to figure out. You have to do a little searching. So, nope, not that spot. Wonder what these are. Oh, there's one of them. So they are blue. Okay. There's another one. Pretty well convinced we found our little dots. There they are. We got one more to go. And we will have found all the dots. Now that we have all the dots, because I took my finger off of the key, I got to go back up and get, oops, not what I wanted to do, the egg, and I'm very sorry. But the nice thing about it is we should be able to go down here to the bottom and get all the dots. Okay, so now we should have, hopefully, we should have the whole egg. And if I go back over here and hover over top of that egg, do I have it all? I hope so. Yeah, well, yeah, all other than this little green outline, which we can find and figure that out. But you notice that you've got to find the elements, because keep in mind, what was the operative word? When we converted to outline, we broke everything apart. So you have to find all the elements in order to be able to move something, because you got to take it all with you. It's not like you can take part of it. You want to take it all. So you have to be able to find everything and highlight it so that you can grab the entire design and make sure that you've got it all and everything. Here's green. So we are now looking for, see these little elements here? These are going to be those elements around the egg. So that's not it. So we have to figure out where those elements are around our egg. And it's just a matter of searching to figure out. There's part of it. There's the rest of it. Okay, so there's the green around your egg. Alright, so now that you have everything highlighted, or if you don't, like I didn't because I let go, then you can literally take this entire design and move it. You can also, sometimes, if there's room, draw a box around it, and it will highlight the whole thing. Many times, the reason I showed you how to go look for those elements is it's going to be really necessary that you know how to do that, because sometimes these designs are so tight that you may not have room to put a box around them, because it'll make you get a part of something else, or it just doesn't lend you to the room to do that. I've even used the lasso tool to draw around it to get it. So there's many ways, but with the egg highlighted and you have it all picked and you have it all decided on, once you hover over it, you got your hand, and you move it out here, we still don't have that little green part. So we could put him back one more time, and we could go down here to the very bottom of the green where we found his parts, and we could grab those two stitches that were nope, that wasn't it. There we go. That one and that one. Alright. Sometimes it is just a little bit easier to take that element away and then come back over here and is there still something else there? Can't really tell. draw a box and let's see if we have it all. What mysteries alive for me? Still have that little green egg. Well, we're going to throw him up here. We're going to come back over here. We're going to draw another box. We're going to, yep, nope. That egg. Oops. Oops. There we go. Now we have a box around the egg, and we can go, whoops. Uh-oh. Okay. Apparently she has laid down numerous stitches. So these are some of the things that you're going to find out. I'm not too worried about it. We can always get rid of that here in a minute when we edit the design. It's not something that's gonna alter what we're trying to do. But what I want you to understand is that you've now figured out how to come over here and move an element from out of the design to another place. You know, you want these eggs all bunched up in a basket, or you want this one over here behind him and you don't want anything in front of him, you know. So that's what basically converting to outlines will do for you. It's no different than if you go to one of the ducks, which I just think are too precious. They have on little ties, little bows around their neck, you know. Well, what if you didn't want a bow around one of them's neck? What if you wanted one of them to look like a girl duck and you wanted one of them to look like a guy duck? So if that's the case, then I would come over here and I'd say to this one is the staunch one looking, so he is going to be my guy duck. And I don't want his little bow around his neck, but I can tell that this looks like, aha, there's his bow. Now I can take that totally away. I can move it, or I can come over here and this little eyeball, I can turn it off. But look what happens. This digitizer makes sure that items don't stitch on top of items. So therefore, when you remove the bow, you're missing part of the duck. What do we do now? I can hear everybody going, great. What do I do? Well, we're going to come up here and we're going to take this duck and we're going to get it into edit mode. And we're going to see if we can't come over here and fix the duck. The duck now needs his neck, his head extended and his body extended. But the body would probably be a little easier to extend than the head. So there's part of the body. Okay. This part of the neck is going to need to come up and meet with his head. So if you go over here and you get your edit tool, you can come back to that screen, that shape, and you can then increase those stitches so that they go up to the head. To do that, you're going to take your points. First off, I'm going to move the start out of my way. You're going to take these points and you're going to put your cursor on the point and you're going to drag. Now we're going to take the rest of this and we're going to drag. And we're going to get it up to where it matches his head. I'm going to take and delete one of those points because I don't need it. So therefore it gives me a better design field if I take one of the points away. Now that one, if you click over here, you'll see what happens. Well, it's okay, except it doesn't come out to his belly. But we got that part. This part, his body part, is a whole different part. We'll have to bring that up and make it match. But where is this part in here that needs to be filled in? So, nope, not at that. I think we gotta go up, ladies. Alright, so here's a part now that needs to be edited, and that's going to give us part of the design that's going to fill in. So we're going to go back and do the exact same thing. We're going to start here, and we're going to be careful of your inclinations. But we're going to start here, and we're going to pull this straight up to meet his head. And from there, move that little start point out of my way. We're going to pull this up, and we're going to pull all of this out so that these stitches now, and this box for these stitches, get bigger. And it fills in this area that we left a hole in because we took his bow tie away. So if we click over here now, we just filled in his neck. Okay, so, but we're not done because we have to find the rest of that area and fill it in also. So we have to figure out if there's another part to that one area, or will we need to use part of one of these other boxes that will fill that in. So I got to kind of work around here and see if let's go up here and see what we can do with this. What is this? And sometimes you just have to make that screen bigger so that you can see what the heck this is and what you can do with it. So we found a little box that we can actually expand on. Let's get that up there out of our way. We can expand on. These inclinations will get in your way, so you have to move them. And with those expanded on, that gives us the option to fill in this area that's missing. And we need a point over here in order to pull this line out. So now, from the looks of it, we just might have filled in his, and if I add a point up here, I can actually straighten this out to where it's not so pointed. Okay, so what we've done is we have typically filled in the gap. Now, you can also add more inclinations if you need to. And inclinations, in case anybody doesn't understand what I'm talking about, inclinations are what create the direction that your stitches stitch in. So if your inclination goes towards the back of his head, that's the direction the stitches are going to go in. If you point your inclinations down, then the stitches are going to stitch in a downward mode. So inclinations help your stitches. Well, looks like to me we filled in his neck where his bow tie was going. We have one other issue, and that is this stitch that goes around the outside, and it is this. It's broken because we took the bow tie away. So this is the run stitch around the outside of the duck. So what we're going to need to do is the same thing we did just now. We're going to need to go up here and get our editing tool and take this run stitch and move it on up to where it meets the other one. So that's on that side, and then we need to come over here and grab it here. If we add a point, we should be able to cause it to curve a little bit. So we're going to want to bring this in, and it is just that simple. If you add a point, you can make these lines curve in the direction you want them to curve in. It is nothing but, just like anything else we've done, ladies, it is nothing but learning your program. So now what we have to do is we have to, let's fit this to screen so you can see it. We can fix that. But what we effectively did was we took his bow tie away. We filled in his neck so that he has stitches for his entire body. And we created us a little boy duck, and we have a little girl duck. So on your design, you can have your Easter basket, and you could have a little girl duck with it and a little boy duck with it. This is what I'm talking about. You have billions and billions and billions of things you can do with what you have. You'd be so surprised that the simplest little design could turn into 5 different types of designs, 5 different choices that you could do if you're making onesies, or you're making receiving blankets, or you're making something so simple, and you found this one baby design that you just love. You could change that around so many ways and make a variety of receiving blankets that you could turn into a gift. And they would never know that it all came from the same design. They would think that they were designs made to match each other, so that you just gave them a matching set of receiving blankets, and oh my, aren't you just the highlight of the party? And you just won the heart over of that mom, because she has these very special receiving blankets that nobody else can have. You're not going to find them in the stores because you made them. So, a simple thing like converting to outlines gives you the ability to do just that. And that is pretty much the entire crux of the outline and what it has to say. And you can take the time to read it word for word. I gave you the whole anatomy of the design and how to do that. I showed you how to do it with different options. And then we did some converting and some editing, and we kind of played with it. Now, the advanced feature of removing the underlay. Sometimes when you have a really huge design and you have to convert it to outlines, the underlay, the top stitches, everything, it's very time consuming for that to convert all that into single stitches and put it back to where it is artwork that you can play around with. So sometimes it helps to use the feature called remove underlay. And I caution you, the best way I can say this is I caution you when you're doing that, because you do need to remember when you remove it, you've got to put it back. You can't just remove it and then stitch the design out and expect it to look exactly the way it looked when you purchased it, because guess what? You just took the building blocks for that design away. Excuse me. Because that's what underlay is. Underlay is the building blocks for the design. It lays down stitches in various directions. And those stitches are what make your design beautiful. It's what makes your top stitch look good. It's what makes it stand up. It's what helps when you do shading. It's what helps when your stitches turn in different directions to make them look more realistic. Underlay is a huge part of any design. So if you take it away to make it quicker to open, remember you have to put it back. So you have to, one, know how to put it back and be able to put it back correctly so that the design stitches out correctly. So I caution you for right now, when you go to remove underlay, is to really maybe do 2 of them and see how they stitch out, and kind of work with it. I'm not telling you not to ever do it. I don't want y'all to ever be afraid to use this program, because I've told you over and over and over, you're never going to learn it until you use it. Okay? You can't figure something out by staring at it. So we will get there. It's just today, the very first thing that you're learning is to edit it. I don't want you to remove the underlay also and then try to edit it and try to figure out how to put all that back. Let's do a little crawling before we take off and walk and run. That way you shouldn't get frustrated or as easily frustrated. And you can play with this and learn. But that's your advanced options as far as the end of the outline goes, and it talks to you about using the advanced option, merge fills, and that type of thing. Those are coming. It's all something that we'll play with as we work on it, but with all of that done and with everything, I want to stop here. I want to bring this video recording to an end. I want you to be able to have plenty of time to pull these designs up on your laptop, and we will work with them in real time, one by one, and we will, see what happens. You can figure out what you need help with, and we will go from there. So I will turn this off, and we will get started on the in-class portion of this this group. Thank you for watching this, and I will bring you February, so be thinking about what you want to learn for February, and I'll bring you February in the same format if everybody liked today's format. Have a great day, ladies.